All right, guys. So happy Thanksgiving to each and every last one of you. As today is a holiday that is probably one of my favorite because I love to eat. Okay. And it is a day where we should all take the time to be thankful for the things that we have. The fact that we can even sit down together in a warm house with our family and our friends and to eat a lot of food. I think is a blessing. Okay. I am thankful for all the opportunities and the things that God has blessed me with in my life. And I think that days like this are important to sit down and really reflect on those things and just, again, to be thankful. And most of all, I am thankful for you guys. I am thankful that you guys have supported me so much. And it's one of those things that's unbelievable, right? I wake up every single day and it really is unbelievable how much support you guys have showed me and my channel. And that is what I am thankful for today. Probably the most. Okay. Obviously family and stuff like that too. But you guys are just absolutely amazing. Coming up on 500,000 subscribers and basically 2 years of doing this. Again, I never imagined being in a position like this and, growing so fast. And I'm just incredibly thankful for you guys. You are the straw that stirs the drink. Okay. You're the straw that stirs the drink. You make it happen. Okay. It's more you than it is me. Okay. This is why I'm extremely thankful for you guys. And I just want to say that as we get started, because today, like every day, right, we still got a full show and we got to talk about somebody who is not as thankful for Thanksgiving. They want to ruin our Thanksgiving by trying to guilt trip us on the founding of this country. And the person that is doing this is no other than soul sister #1 race pimp in the media, Joy Reid, who did a monologue about Thanksgiving in which she says that Thanksgiving is a simplistic fairy tale that Republicans need to erase the history of genocide in this country. And I want to go ahead and play this clip, and we're going to get into this.
Thanksgiving, the day we gather with friends and family to enjoy turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie. We throw on the game, catch up on our lives, and then discuss, or quite possibly argue, about religion and politics. For millions of Americans, it's a day of cherished traditions. And as Americans, we certainly value those traditions. But it's also important to unpack the myth of Thanksgiving. It is a holiday riddled with historical inaccuracies, built on this myth that the indigenous welcomed their colonizers with open arms and ears of corn, a simplistic fairy tale interpretation of a 1621 encounter between indigenous tribes and English settlers that erases the genocide that followed. It's the truth Republicans want banned from our textbooks, because here's the secret they want so desperately to keep. We are a country founded on violence. Our birth was violent. In 1619, a ship with more than 20 enslaved Africans landed in Virginia, ushering in 2 centuries of American slavery that left millions in chains or dead. And when those humans in bondage were finally free, a terrorist organization that was a card-carrying member of polite society, the Ku Klux Klan, picked up where the Civil War ended, using violence to maintain white supremacy. The Klan and its ilk are still active. And as Americans, we continue to choose violence. We are a country that chooses violence over and over again. There is no facet of American society that is untouched by it, as all the recent headlines remind us.
Yeah, so let's break down the history here, okay, that she says is riddled in mythology, okay? She wants to use this as a way to guilt trip us into not enjoying Thanksgiving. And I'm going to tell you guys the perfect response to it. Okay. So let's talk about the history of Thanksgiving. What she's talking about here, what she refers to as a myth, is the idea that the Native Americans welcomed the pilgrims with open arms to the United States, the New World, and they sat down and they had this big feast and everything was happily ever after from there. Okay. Basically what she's referring to is how the story of Thanksgiving is told in basically like elementary school pageants. The history has been watered down for kids to enjoy, and she's using the fact that, again, what happened was watered down for kids to enjoy as some type of argument that Republicans want to erase history. They want us to forget about the genocide that happened to the Native Americans, which we're going to talk more about details there, because again, she forgets to leave out the main cause of the so-called genocide, but we're going to get into it. She's saying that, look, Thanksgiving is a myth, watered down for Republicans to enjoy, to forget about the genocide. Okay, so let's actually talk about the history here. And let's see what we can make of this, okay? And whether or not we should continue to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? Because I don't think most Americans even think about Thanksgiving in regards to the encounter between the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims at Plymouth, the arrival of the Mayflower. I don't think that most people nowadays, when they're thinking about this holiday, actually think about that interaction and what it meant and what it led to. I think that some people, see that as the start of Thanksgiving, but I don't think that people think about it that deeply, and I don't think that they should. But this is essentially what happened. The Wampanoag, who had already had a century of contact with the Europeans, their leader wanted a alliance, okay, with the Europeans because he was facing some warring with other tribes. Okay, so that dinner was not necessarily about the Wampanoag opening the Europeans with open arms to come in and enjoy a dinner with us. It was kind of more about, again, building a alliance with the Europeans for his own personal gain or whatever, right? For the survival of the tribe. And that alliance lasted for quite a long time. I believe it lasted for like almost 50 or 60 years until the King Philip's War, in which, a lot of Native Americans lost their lives. And that is essentially what Joy Reid is referring to when she refers to the ensuing genocide. However, what she forgets to leave out is that most Native Americans generally did not die because the Europeans came over here and decided that, hey, we're going to kill everybody. That's not what happened. What happened is that they were exposed to diseases, right? They were exposed to diseases from the Europeans that they have not been exposed to in the Americas, and that led to a lot of them dying. I mean, I think most historians agree that 90% of the Native Americans were wiped out by diseases, not by the Europeans coming over here and killing them. Now, is that to say that there was not war, okay, that there was not slave raiding, that people weren't, losing their lives, getting killed, brutally murdered? Of course, that happened. Okay, of course that happened. But again, that's no different than the founding of any nation or country in history. Is that there's going to be blood, there's going to be war, people are going to lose their lives. It is what it is. I'm not saying that it's a great thing or that it's something to necessarily be celebrated, which is why people don't celebrate that part of it. They just celebrate the fact that, okay, well, you had two groups of people come together and had relative peace for, a certain amount of time, despite having some bloody encounters before that. And the main problem here from the woke revolutionaries is that their arguments make it seem like it was a battle of good versus evil. Europeans evil, Native Americans good, even though they conveniently leave out the fact that Native Americans were doing the exact same things that Europeans did to them. They were doing those things to Europeans and also to other tribes that they were warring with. Yeah, living back during those days was brutal. It was tough. People typically died of brutal deaths. It is what it is, and it happened on both sides. I mean, Native Americans owned slaves as well, too. But you never hear the woke revolutionaries mention that when they are caping, playing Captain Save a tribe with the Native Americans. Because war, colonialism, slave trading is only bad when the Europeans do it. But when everybody else do it, is either not bad or we should never, ever, ever talk about it and never hold them guilty or accountable for their so-called, atrocious actions that we don't want to acknowledge, because again, it's only bad when Europeans do it, right? This is what the argument is. But again, what we have here is that we have the woke revolutionaries trying to make people feel guilty about what happened in the past when you really shouldn't. And the response to this stuff really should be, okay, and so what? Right? It's just like when these people say the founders had slaves. Okay, and so what? That's my response. Oh yeah, they had slaves. Absolutely. They did. Okay, and if you don't like it so much, then leave. If you don't like our traditions, if you don't like the way we celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, these holidays, if you don't like it, then leave. I'm done trying to go back and forth with these people, trying to paint a more rosier picture of the founding of this country, because it wasn't rosy. Of course, there was violence. Of course, there was bloodshed. It's no different than the founding of any other country on earth, right? No different. But for whatever reason, we have to be guilt tripped on ours because people are upset that the Europeans were successful, that they essentially dominated the Native Americans, and you're supposed to feel guilty about that if you're white, right? Despite the fact that Joy Reid is reaping the benefits. She's reaping the benefits of the work of the white European settlers and all the horrible things that they supposedly did to the Native Americans and, African slaves. But see, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Joy Reid is enjoying the benefits of all the so-called horrible things that the Europeans did. She's enjoying the benefits because if the Europeans didn't do what they did, she, as a black woman, would not be making millions of dollars on TV spewing this nonsense, right? If the Europeans didn't do what they did, along with the African slave traders, the Africans that put black people into slavery, she would be in Africa, right? She would be in Africa, probably as a part of a lower tribe, right? Her life probably wouldn't be nearly as great as it is today. So to me, on Thanksgiving, she should be thankful. She should actually be thankful for what the Europeans did and all of the things that happened as a part of this country's history. All of it wasn't great. All of it wasn't pretty. But what matters is that we overcame those things and we now have a better country and society because of that. But, these people, for whatever reason, the race crusaders, the race pimps, they don't want you to think about the positive. They don't want you to think about the fact that we overcame those things. We overcame slavery. We overcame the bloody history of this country to become a better society. No, you can't think about that. That's not the way you should think about it. You always got to focus on the fact that the Europeans were successful at colonialism and they always have to feel guilty about it, even though without European colonialism, your life would not be as great as it is. Your life would not be as great as it is. So again, these people who are unthankful, again, just leave. Just leave, because I don't want to hear your nonsense telling me what I should and should not celebrate and how I should celebrate it. If you don't like it, then leave. Leave the country, go back to Africa and celebrate Thanksgiving over there. I guarantee you she won't be walking with open arms, right? She won't be getting no feast, right? I'm just saying, all these people that hate this country so much, they won't leave. But they want everybody else to feel guilty about the founding of this country while they benefit from the Europeans and what they did in the founding of this country. It's absolutely amazing how that works. It's absolutely amazing how this works. So again, with that being said, I don't necessarily care about the details in terms of what happened. All I know is that on Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for, the things I have in my life, the people I have in my life, including you guys, my family. I'm thankful for all the things that I have in my life, including being American, and the fact that it is a blessing that we could all sit down in a warm house and eat a lot of food, right? The way that we do. And I am truly thankful for that because that is a privilege that most people in the history of the world have not had. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being thankful and appreciative of all the positive things that have led us to where we are today. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.